Good morning. Good morning. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited. Today's show is how to invest, what to do. Listen, we've been sitting here home, not doing anything. You have money coming in because, you're not going out as much. You're not shopping as much. You're not spending all this money on dinners and movies. So what are you doing with this extra cash? And I'm going to tell you the best way to do is an invest. And it's something hot right now. And I want to show you what's going on. But before we get started, we want to thank our sponsor for the show today. Right there, Bitcoin Exchange. If you want to exchange, know a little bit more about it, that is our sponsor. They'll be sponsoring our show for this whole week. So we'd like to thank them. Give them a big round of applause for sponsoring the show this week. All right, without further ado, let's bring the man on himself that's going to tell us what to do, how to do, and how to do it. Bring him on. Peter, where are you at?
No.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing excellent. Wonderful day to be alive. Everything is good.
Trust me. Listen, I'm thinking to myself, I haven't gone out shopping that much. I haven't gone to the movies. You're not going to the club. You have this little extra money in your pocket, but sitting in your pocket's not going to do anything. It's just sitting there. I'm like, okay, we can invest, but I'm like, well, if you put it in the bank, you get your 5 cents here, your little 10 cents there. And I go, what can I do with this extra $100 I have this week? And I go, the best person to talk to is you and figure out, hey, let's try something. What can we do? So I'm so excited that you're here on the show today.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure to be here. So I think today's topic is day one. We're going to keep it to the ABCs. So I'm going to get into the infrastructure and the things that people don't see and don't understand to maybe give a little bit more substance to the space, to the newcomers.
All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring on another special guest, because she's going to learn and I'm going to learn and we're going to learn together. I thought we should do it all together because she probably has questions like a newbie, so we can all learn together. So please welcome to the show. You might have seen her. I call her the redhead, the fiery one.
Hello, guys. I'm so happy to be here with you. Of course, I do want to learn from Peter. He's an expert in these materials. So I'm ready with my questions and my notepad, okay?
There we go. So we can all learn, all right? So once again, we have a lot of people watching. And if you have any questions and you think things we think we can answer, just make sure you put a Q in front of it. And we'll pop them up on the screen. And if Peter can answer it now or another show, we'll get back to the questions for you then. All right. So always keep answering in the chat. Keep talking. We like to see what you're saying. All right, Peter. So like you said, let's start from A to B, one thing at a time. Give us some information what this is.
Okay. So the two main things I'm going to elaborate here is why it's digital rarity and the importance of digital rarity to humanity, which is the first technology to bring this. And part two, you're going to understand why they call it digital gold. So I'm going to tell a little quick story of infrastructure. Like, why did banks become relevant in the first place? Because when we use gold as money, and the wealthier you got, it was very difficult to lug around big amounts of gold. People could steal it from you. It could get lost, many factors. So banks started holding gold, and then they started giving us paper vouchers for the gold. And when you trusted institutions, that was the first form of paper money, right? So it was a needed service. Let's fast forward and not get into a long history lesson to 2021. What are banks needed for today? They've long time ago switched from holding gold to just for a while there was massive amounts of cash and gold in their vaults. But since 1971, let alone the last 20 years, it's more about digital security. So a bank is not storing bars of gold, and most banks have a few percent, 1%, 2%, 3% liquidity, meaning that means if they have $1 million in there, they only have $30,000 of cash sitting around. Cash is not why you use a bank anymore. You use a bank because of their digital security that you trust. You know that if you're going to your online banking or they use your Visa or your debit, something about that institution, you don't necessarily know the details, but it works. Mm-hmm. So they're offering you digital trust, right? It comes from a central place, which is not necessarily nothing wrong with that, just understanding why we use those infrastructures. Now, going back to Bitcoin, it's not the first attempt of digital rarity. There's been many failed attempts of people looking to create something digital and rare. So Bitcoin is just the first one to pull it off. It lasted 10 years and it's still a form of digital rarity, meaning that if I send this digital rarity to 5 different people, the person I send it to very first has it, not me, and nobody else has it. It's verified. And give you a little side story to understand how this works too, is the infrastructure, let's say, of downloading music when we started. If anyone remembers in the early days, it was Napster. So that's how you downloaded music. It was a centralized service that you were able, that had an infrastructure for you to download music, which was awesome. It was unfortunately not following copyrights, and it got closed down. After that, I had about a half a dozen LimeWire competitors that did the same thing. They were a centralized service that offer you a way to download music. They all got shut down. Now, fast forward, what ended up happening? The first distributed computer network that I know of that exists on the web before Bitcoin was BitTorrent, which still exists to this day, Pirate Bay, whatever it's called. It's a way to download music that runs on millions of people's computers, and there's no one place that you could stop it from, because it's just a program that millions or hundreds of million people are choosing to use. So Bitcoin is the same concept, but instead of downloading music, it took it a step further and it made something digital and rare. And why do we take gold? Why do we like diamonds? Why do we like silver and certain rare paintings? Because they're rare. So there's only 21 pieces of this digital rarity. Each piece is called a Bitcoin and has 10 million Satoshis. That's the penny of Bitcoins, right? The smallest unit. So you have to think about, there's only 21 digital rare Bitcoins on this planet, and there's never going to be more. When people wanted more gold, they created more gold mines. When people needed more paper assets, they created more banks. This is something people are going to use, but this is why they call it digital gold.
Okay, so let's backtrack. We just learned now that if I'm writing my notes down, I know everybody else should be writing your notes down as well. I understand it now. Back in the day, miners went out, back in the cowboy days, they're walking around with all this gold and silver and everything. And you can't keep that on the horse. Okay. You can't be jumping around on a horse with all that gold. So you went to the bank, handed it in, and then they gave you a piece of paper saying, this is how much you had. I know it's safe. You can go with it. This is your proof that you have it. And this is where the papers started coming in, and somewhere we needed to hold it. And as it grew, it came into that same aspect of bank money paper, bank money paper, then bank money paper, then coin. But then, as you said, look at the world we live into now. It's gone back to, we have a bank, but now we're using a card. We just tap and go. We're just using a swipe card. We just tap and go. So it's come full circle right back. So there you go. So if you didn't understand it before, here it is. So then the question is, why should somebody get into it?
Someone should get into it for many reasons. So we could start off with the financial side of it, right? When you have a new technology emerging and it's hit a momentum curve that's proven now, like there's almost no digital network that we could find that's hit $1 trillion on this planet. The Apples, the Amazons, once they hit $1 trillion, they might have had some hiccups down the road, but they never went away. So we've never had $1 trillion asset that went global that disappeared on us through a network effect. So Bitcoin doesn't have a CEO, it doesn't have a company. It's a movement that people are choosing to talk about, like we are today. People are listening about, people are essentially, it's a multi-trillion-dollar marketing machine that no one's putting actual dollars in. And the actual hard worth of it is about $1 trillion more or less on today's market cap, right? So when you have, this is the first time that something came from the people that got started using by big players and big institutions, and now governments are talking about adapting it. Every other time we've had forms of payments or form of movements like this, it started from the top down. So for the first time, something started, and we have the opportunity at the same time as the wealthiest people, the most powerful, influential people right now started buying it. Like Tesla started buying it at 38,000. There's a bunch of companies buying it at this price range. You as an individual, whether your account is $150, $15,000, $1,500 you start with, doesn't matter, $50, and the number's not relevant. You are taking the same actions as the elite, and we've never had that option as human beings. And now you listen to these people who are changing the planet, and they're saying, oh yeah, humbly, of course it's going to go to at least 10 trillion. So let's just keep it at that market cap. Let's not talk about where it could go, and we'll just keep it in the medium short-term future. Whether it corrects in the next year, in the next 5 years, if you're willing to put something and wait 5 years, and you know it could, the greatest minds are all taking action in the space, putting their own finances, times, their company names behind it, accepting it. It's most likely something you want to be part of. And we may not see this again, because we've never seen this before in any human lifetime, where the average person could capitalize just as much as the biggest organizations on the planet.
Okay, so it's something that started in ground up. See, I didn't know that. I'm glad that I'm learning from you. So I thought this was like the government that put this together or something else. This is like a strong base. So now that they see that's happening, other big companies want to get into it. Like you said, I saw Tesla. How many? Everybody's jumping into it now. They were scared of it before, but it's secure. It's something that it's there now. Talk about how secure it is.
Well, like when I entered the space in like early 2015, there was still a argument where if you took the supercomputers of the world and somehow had Apple talk to Microsoft and agree with the American government and agree with the like whatever other things like that, and you had a conglomerate of, let's say, all the supercomputers link up, there was a chance you could compromise the Bitcoin network. This was 2015 we're talking. This is based on guys who understand the technology much better than me. But since 2016, 17 for sure, the amount of computer power you need to spend, I think it's billions or hundreds of millions of dollars to win one block. So one block right now is 6 or 3.25, whatever the block reward is at Bitcoin, right? So if we're at 6 Bitcoin, even if Bitcoin's at 100K, for 600,000, 300,000, you're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to what? Prove one block wrong that'll get corrected in the network in the next several hours. It's
right.
Just something that's beyond logic now. And no one even has the wealth on this planet to compromise the network. And no one's going to be able to ever catch up to this computer system, which hopefully, like, there's already options of people moving to renewable energy. There is some flaws about having such a big computer network to power a monetary system, but this is a life-changing, world-changing monetary system that could literally open up the minds and create a whole new world, just like the internet did. And maybe overusing power in the short term is a cost that I think is worthwhile, because in the long run, the possibilities that it can do and what it already has done it is priceless when we talk about computer and energy. That will all get corrected.
All right. So then I know a lot of people are like, shut up, Chuck. Just ask him the question. Get forward and ask him the question. All right. I'm going to ask him the question. How do we get started? do we go to the bank and say, here's my money bank? What do we do? How do we get started?
So the best way to go about it is, like, let's go back to the gold paradigm. You could own physical gold, or you could own a stock in gold these days, saying you invest in a stock company or index fund that holds gold. I teach people how to buy physical gold. So I'm going to keep it to that topic. If we have a side episode with a guest that specializes, I know how to do that as well. I just don't recommend it. So I always say, no matter what, you start with cash, whether they're pesos, American dollars, depending where you are in the world. You start with your local currency.
Okay.
If you live in a village that's very small, there is a town or a city near you could get to through bus, through foot, hitchhiking, whatever you do. In that local town, assuming you have internet, you do your research before you go, there's brokers all over the world. There's not a major city that doesn't have a broker. More developed places have ATMs and established brokers that have retail shops. So my favorite person that I work with is at Spadina and Dundas. So if anyone in Toronto region or downtown Toronto, or just make the visit down there, right at Spadina and Dundas, right beside the National Bank, there's 2 huge signs. I love Bitcoin. You won't be able to miss it. And in there, they'll guide you through it. The step before that is downloading an app on your phone. If you really need, the person in there could guide you, or your local broker in whatever town could guide you. I could guide you through a phone call, but it's not complicated. It's about downloading an app on your phone and then making sure most of them make you write down 12 words as a security measure. I know it's a new thing. It's the difference between this space and the bank is you could call them and they'll reset your passwords. Here, if you lose your passwords, there's no one to call. So there's pros and there's cons to that. The cons is you could lose your money. So they give you these words as a safety mechanism. If you lose your phone, if something happens, as long as you have those words and you re-download the app, your money's safe. And the important part that people forget is, if you start putting reasonable amounts of money or it grows to be something, don't have the words in one spot. One of your kids' friends will be smart. Someone that's not a good person one day you might be making an Instagram video, not even realize they zoom in. Like, there's mad possibilities where we're not there yet, but in the future where you could get that taken. If you just keep them in 2 different places, your things are safe. So why I'm emphasizing this is security, right? So you start with cash, you download an app. It sounds complicated, but it's like the first time you used email was complicated. You send 10 emails, it becomes easy. The first time you use a smartphone, you're like, what is this? Now imagine living without it, right? So the first time you use Bitcoin, it's not going to be that uncomfortable, but it'll be a little bit uncomfortable. But that's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. Use it 10 more times, and then you'll get a better feel of it.
All right. So just let the viewers know as well, before we get to you, Maria, I know you have a bunch of questions. I saw that the pen started to catch on fire. So don't worry. I'll get to you. We're going to be doing some giveaways. That's right. At the end of the week, we have some prize pack for somebody that's listening. So each show that we do, you have to enter to win. And the easiest way to enter to win, we're going to draw your name, is in the chat. Just put hashtag CMJ Live. So if you want to type that in the chat right now, you get to enter to win into a contest. All you got to do is just put hashtag CMJ Live and you'll be entered to win. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. But Maria, when we get back, don't worry. I got you. We'll get you your questions. And we have some other questions in the chat as well. So we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we got your questions. And do remember, we like to thank our sponsor for sponsoring this show, because if they know that we know there's something coming up, this is the best thing to do. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com. Yes, we are back live, and I have some questions coming in. All right, so they want to know like which apps to use, what apps to go into, which ones would you recommend. So we can talk about that, but then we also need to talk about if you're app savvy. And if you're not app savvy, then that's where Peter comes in. Okay. There you go. So here you go. I want to put Peter's website up. All right. You can go to his website. He has all his links right there. He can guide you step by step, because there's so many out there. You know what I mean? You want to make sure you get the best one that you understand and the best one that you feel comfortable using. Because like he said, a lot of people like Gmail. A lot of people like Hotmail. A lot of people are still using different email addresses. It's whatever makes you feel comfortable. That's the one you should get into, because there's so many out there. So there you go. So Maria, you can go ahead. I know your pen was on fire earlier. You had a couple of questions. Go ahead.
It is. And one of my questions is regarding to the app, because when I Googled that, it's like there's so many apps, and which one you should go to that you're not going to get scammed or that you're not going to lose your money. Some of them ask for credit cards so that you buy with the credit card. So what do you think about that? And apps that you recommend, what do you think about, should we buy with credit card just to make our life easy, or should we just go to the place in Toronto when it comes to $100 to invest on? So give me your thought. I have many questions. Okay, so give me that thought first.
Okay, well, whether you're in Toronto, right, you don't have to go to Spadina Dundas. If you're buying $100 and you just want to learn how to use the technology, you could Google a Bitcoin ATM, or there's a website. I think it's called. You'll be able to find out. I'll pull up the link after, and the link lets you know all the local ATMs around you. And even if you live in a borough, not in Toronto, you live in North York, or they're pretty much everywhere. A lot of convenience stores have them. The difference is ATM might take about 6 to 12% fee, where the broker will usually take 3 to 6. So you're gonna save, like if you're buying bigger amounts, it's gonna add up. But if you're buying $100 and it costs you $8-10 your first time to learn how to use some Bitcoin, that's just the cost of doing business. It's a learning experience, right? When it comes to the wallets, I'm gonna recommend just a big one that everybody probably knows about and uses that's in the space. And I'm not biased towards this one. There's lots of great ones, but I just know the team behind it and I know what they stand for, which they're the least likely to give you a headache in the future. So Binance is an exchange that's not a wallet. So if you were like planning to buy other coins, besides like you start with Bitcoin, but you want to do some more experimental because you think they're better prices or whatever the case may be, I would just sign up right to Binance. Then when you buy your Bitcoin, it goes right there. They let you pull out 2 Bitcoin a day anonymously. And by the way, with your answer with the credit cards, any one platform that doesn't let you skip it, that's a perfect sign of don't use that platform. So everyone that's legit will let you skip all personal information, skip credit cards. If for some reason it's not letting you skip to join the wallet, there's your telltale that that's probably not legit. Because every legit Bitcoin wallet and exchange will give you the option to be anonymous. It might warn you and say something like, you could only pull out 1,000 USD a day until you verify your account. But even with that warning, it'll still let you skip and enter the exchange. If someone is like squeezing you for the information, that's big tell signs. I don't, side note, don't recommend either buying with credit card also because you're documented forever. So if you want to, let's say, change locations of where you live, right, and you bought your Bitcoin at whatever price, 5 years later, you're living in a different place and you do want to pay taxes there for some reason, right? You have the choice to do it. But if you buy it with your credit card here in Canada or wherever you are, it's documented there forever. And the laws in Canada, the way they work is you owe them that tax for the rest of your life. So if you could buy it anonymously and keep it at your terms, it gives you more options. That's why by all means, I avoid email transfers, credit cards, and just keep it to cash because it gives you all the options. You could still have all the benefits. And most of these platforms take a few percentile anyway. They do take 2, 3%, 4% for using credit cards. So it's not like you're saving much. Some will give you 1, 2% for using bank accounts. But if you're getting in for the long term, those numbers aren't really relevant. So back to Binance. Binance is the exchange. Binance's wallet that they made, meaning their version for the app for the phone is called Trust, Trust. So that's a good name, Trust. They make you write down the 12 words, which I like. That's why I recommend them. And Binance lets you pull out 2 Bitcoins a day anonymously. So by today's rate, that's about 107,000 US every single day you could put in and out anonymously in Binance. So that's a pretty big number.
So how will you take the money out?
You take it out right back to your Bitcoin broker. So when you have, let's say you buy whatever, 1% of a Bitcoin, right? So that would be 540 US dollars today, right? Then Bitcoin goes to $1 million, let's say, right? All of a sudden you have $10,000. You go back to the same broker, same ATM, and you sell them the Bitcoin for cash again. Or better yet, by then you'll probably be able to buy whatever you're looking for with Bitcoin. And when we're fast forward in 5 years, whatever you're looking to buy, whether it be islands, planes, cars, clothing, you're going to be able to use your Bitcoin directly. You already can through intermediaries to buy almost anything on the planet, but more and more companies, like right now, if you were going to buy a Tesla, you don't have to sell your Bitcoin to cash to get a Tesla. They'll gladly take your Bitcoin. And there's going to be more and more companies. You want to go to space, to the moon, they'll gladly take your Bitcoin. They actually prefer it. They don't want your dollars, right? So
yeah,
it's already becoming more and more acceptable. And now they brought back the credit cards. The banks fought the crypto space a few years ago. So we had credit cards that I had from Asia, South America that I was able to use throughout Europe, throughout America, different parts of the world, the Caribbeans. And then they shut it down and they made it just like a credit card for just US, and you have to be a US citizen, but you can't use it outside there. And they had little ones like that in Europe, but the international credit cards went away for 2 years, but they came back about a year ago, and this year they're coming back with vengeance. So now I can get a credit card again, and I can just, from my Binance account or my Trust wallet, move in however much Bitcoin I want to, and I have it now on a Visa debit card that I could pull out dollars, spend at a restaurant or whatever the goal is, right?
Yeah. So today I got an app which actually says that Apple, Tim Hortons, Starbucks, they're accepting Bitcoin. It says here more than 300 brands and more than 30 countries we can pay with Bitcoin. That's something that's amazing.
Starbucks has been accepting it since 2015, I think. They were on a lot of those companies, though, when they say that, it's not that you go up to the register and go, I got Bitcoin, and the person working there is going to know what you're talking about. What they mean is someone that's a little bit more tech savvy. While you're in line in Starbucks, you with your Bitcoin could buy a Starbucks gift card with Bitcoin, right? While you're in line. And when you get up, the person just thinks you're using a gift card to make it like they haven't trained their staff. It's not like if everyone that worked at Starbucks knew how to use Bitcoin, I don't think they'll be working at Starbucks anymore. You know what I mean? If their staff was training them how to like open wallets for people, like they would not be working at Starbucks anymore, you know? Yes. But they use it through intermediaries. That's how it happens.
And listen, that's the way the world's coming to. Because remember, years ago, I tried to teach my dad, oh, it's a card. He's like, oh, I'm not using that. It's not safe. I'm not using that. Cash, 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 cash. Now my dad's asking me, how do I get the fees off my card? Because I use my card all the time. It's going to transition. You're going to transition to somewhere. So it's either you learn about it now or get left behind. And
exactly.
Learn about it. This is the way our world's coming to. You can use Bitcoin for a lot of stuff. Like she said, you go into your wallet, which I love. That's the one thing I love about it. It's your own wallet. You're spending your own wallet. It's not like you have to go to the bank and then ask the bank and then go here. It's your own money in your own wallet, and you get to see and work with it from there. Okay, so here's what one thing I want to ask you is, I have more than $100. People want to know, they get excited right away. Oh, I got $1,000 or whatever. Should they dive in right away or start slow with the 100 and then take baby steps, learn from it, take baby steps?
So I would say the same thing, right? Assuming you have no investments, what you would spend on a really nice night out for dinner with a lady friend, a family member, whoever. Like what? For some people, that number is $50. For some people, it's 1,500, and most people, it's probably a couple $100, right? If you had a out of town friend come in, you want to treat them really well, right? So that you're willing to lose. Start with that. Now, if you're already an investor, yes, I would be more careful. So whatever your portfolio size, maybe you have a goal of getting to 10%, but you trickle in 1% at a time on a weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, whatever you choose basis, just so you have a better understanding of the space and you take it kind of step by step. And it'll be a better, that way you'll get a more medium price. The price might keep going up and you might lose out, but if the price goes down, you're also playing it safe. And if it keeps going up for the 3 months you're buying it, most likely you're in a bull run, is going to continue anyway, right? And if it's at a time when the market's going up or down, there's lots of benefits just buying it consistently, week by week, month by month, as opposed to dumping it one time. It kind of feels more like gambling when you do it like that. Whereas if you do it kind of more gradually, it feels more like investing.
All right. So if you listen to what Peter said, take the money that you would spend on a nice dinner for somebody. So, for example, Maria, how much would you be spending dinner on me for?
I will do a $50.
Okay. Where's the love, people? Where's the love? All right. So we take that $50 and then we invest it and then we slowly let it grow. And then when we see it growing, do we just leave it and smile at it, or do we do stuff with it to make our portfolio grow?
So I would say if you're just buying Bitcoin, just like buying gold, right? You don't want to get into the gold mining business. You don't want to learn about gold trading with silver or anything like that. You just want to hold your gold. I would still buy it every month so you don't forget, right? You'll be up to date with what's going on in the gold. So whatever you do with that dinner, do that every month, every 2 weeks if you can, at least every 6 weeks, right? And you just keep doing that, and that will keep you kind of, even if you're not like, every time you see your little like gold bars growing, even though they're digital, right? It feels good, right? And you don't forget about it, and that way it keeps you kind of in touch. And right now there's tons of platforms. If you're gonna keep it somewhere like Binance or Trust Wallet, those are actually not the best spots. Anyone that puts in a significant, like an investor putting in part of their portfolio, buys a USB stick that are called ledgers, trezors, keep keys. They're a special, unique USB looking stick that's made to take your money off the internet. So it's not even stored online anymore. So what are these cost? $100 to $200. The best ones are $500, right? So very cost efficient for someone that's going to put in 10, 20, 30, 50 plus K. $150 for a little fidget that will get your stuff offline is the best way to store your money. And how even if you put in $1,000 only this year, but that $1,000 goes to 10, by the time it's at 5, you should diversify $150, get that fidget stick, whichever competitor you choose, and then get it offline. That's what everyone should do, hands down. But let's say we're talking about the people who are just buying their restaurant amounts every month, right? Or their small purchases. There's already platforms like Bybit, for example, is a trading platform I use that just launched this. So I'm not going to fully recommend it yet. Give them like a month to let me see this verified. But they're a big, huge platform. I don't see them. If they already offered the service, I don't see them changing it now. But let's say you do no trading. So instead of holding your money on Binance, you move it to Bybit. They're going to give you 15% annual on your Bitcoin. And you don't have to hold it. You can take it after a month, a day. But let's say you did have 0.1 Bitcoin, right? All of a sudden, by doing nothing, no trading, you have 0.115 Bitcoin at the end of the year just by holding your funds there, which again, more risky on the big portfolios. But if you're small and up and coming and you want to feel like you're putting it in and now you're getting interest, it's kind of exciting. Like, not many people get 15% interest on their money. No. And not to mention money that could double or triple or 4 times in a year. It could also go down by half, but you have the option of maybe it goes down by half or maybe it goes up 5, 10 times. And I'm getting 15% regardless. It's a pretty cool feeling.
Okay, so here's one question that came in. Is there any company that you can recommend or think about, if we go with them, they give you an offer to start with them? You know how some bank says, hey, you sign up with us and we're going to give you a toaster oven. Sign up with us and we give you something, right? Does any of these companies do the same thing? Sign up with them and they give you, 2 Bitcoins or whatever for signing up or whatever percentage? Is anything like that?
So there's bonuses for most trading platforms. So if you're not an investor, you're a trader. There's tons of bonuses when you could, for example, if you want to be a risk taker but super safe. Most humans are not disciplined enough to do this, but let's say you are. You could take your amount, your 0.2, your 1 Bitcoin. Most of the time they want like a 0.1, 0.2, or a full Bitcoin to get the maximum rewards. You could put your Bitcoin in there. They'll give you your full 400, 200, 600, $1,000 bonus depending on the platform, right? And they'll let you trade with that. And if you have the discipline to just trade that, and if you lose it, pull back your money, they'll let you do that. But most people, that's a tough game to play, right? So Binance, a platform I recommended. If you do some kind of deposit, I know they have referral programs where also if you start own a certain amount of Binance token, your fees go down. There's advantages, but there's nothing major for just investing outside of getting annual returns. But the bonuses mostly apply for traders and trading platforms. And a lot of them you have to trade with that. It's not just you deposit and they give you Bitcoin. They give you Bitcoin that's valid for trading. And if you don't trade it, you don't have it anyway. You just have what you deposited.
Right. So understanding that you're not giving anybody here financial advising, guys, so we're not going to get you in trouble. So with the crypto, we can trade, we can earn, we can get credit, we can pay, we can get rewards as well. In terms of getting a credit card, how can we get that Visa card that it's around for Bitcoin?
So the question is, you have to be a Bitcoiner like me or someone that's living off Bitcoin. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Why would you get another credit card that costs you, I don't know what they cost, 10, 20, 30 bucks a month plus fees? For what reason? Unless you're spending your Bitcoin today, and on what are you spending it on? And if you're in Toronto right now with us, go get cash. You know what I mean? Like she'll cash you out $50,000, no notice. Like you could do that every 2 days if you want to, right? So I don't see the benefits of a new time or having a credit card unless they're a certified investor that's going to put a chunk of their portfolio in over the next quarter or two, and then they plan to this fall or the following summer use that for their travel fund or whatever. But that's still, we're talking airports have to open, the world has to make sense, right? And like there still wouldn't be tomorrow. Like there's no benefits to anybody new having a credit card, in my opinion.
Yes, great. Yeah, I know we're passing time, but I have one more question.
Go ahead.
In terms of the regulators in Canada, I heard that now accepting something about Bitcoin specifically. What would you have to say about that?
So again, like we could get a person on the show that specializes in that world. I'm just gonna be very transparent. I'm an anarchist. I teach people how to go outside the system. And when you go outside the system in our world, you still have the option to later on go, hey guys, I still want to whatever, but you don't have to. So everything I teach people is how to avoid those regulations. If you just buy cash, there's no paper trail. If there's no one in the government that they could pay $60,000 to $100,000 a year that's going to understand crypto and track it, right? There's if just like the Starbucks concept, if somebody in the government understood crypto to that level, they wouldn't work for 80,000. They can make $800,000 that year. Why would they work for the government for 80? So they don't have the staff to actually figure out the whole infrastructure. But if you're going to make it easy for them and buy it with your credit card, buy it with their institutions, of course they're going to come for you for that. And that's where those regulations you're worried about apply, right? So the people that buy it with their bank accounts, buy it with their credit cards, all those things you're asking about, that's when it applies. You buy it with cash, it does no longer apply.
Okay.
Unless you want it to. And if you can, you just get a lawyer and he'll fill out the paperwork for you. But you just have more options by buying it anonymously always.
Right. All right. We're going to take one last break, but I see people, and make sure you enter to win because we're going to do the draw right after this commercial break. I see some people that entered, but they spelt it wrong. So make sure you can enter as much times as you want. So make sure you put the right letters in. It's hashtag CMJ Live. All right. Enter it now. And right after the break, we're going to pick a winner. It's free to enter. Just put it into the chat, hashtag CMJ Live, and we'll pick a winner right after this commercial. CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com. All right, we are back live, and I'm just putting it in. I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes just to enter properly, And then we're going to pick our winner for our first enter break today. You never know what it is. It could be a free one-on-one call with Peter. It could be entering. We could be doing one-on-one calls. Enter to win right now. Just put it in CMJ Live. There we go. We got some more people entering real quick before we pick our winner. All right, my friend. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump in. And you know what it is? We can use me as the GOAT to learn how to do it. And I'm going to jump in with you. We're going to do it off the air. I'm going to bring and show everybody my screens and show everybody what I'm doing a little bit at a time, and they can learn step by step. So if you want to learn step by step, make sure you tune in to next week's show. We have another show coming on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about more about each step, how to grow better and do something different. Because the way the world is right now, we have to try things new. You know what I mean? Don't be scared to try things new. And like he said, start small, okay? If it's dinner, like she said, it's $50. It's fine. Start small. All right. We're going to share screen right now, and we are going to pick a winner. This is your last chance to enter to win. Hashtag CMJ Live. Put it in. I'm going to hit the button pretty soon. Here we go. I'm going to share screen. There it is. And we're going to draw. This is your last chance. Here we go. Let's do this. Hey, congratulations, my friend. We are going to send you get your email and contact information. You'll be entered into our major draw at the end of the week. So congratulations. We'll get your name and hashtag and email, but congratulations. There we go. That's how easy it was, everybody. All you had to do was put in a hashtag and you could have been the winner. It's real simple. All right. So Peter, my friend, thank you so much for giving us your knowledge and your time. We really appreciate it. And Wednesday, like I said, we're coming back Wednesday to get more information on what you need to do. So make sure you share it with your friends. You have any questions or anything, go to his website. Link him on his website right there. Or send him an email. Here, I'll give you time to write it down.
I lost the volume.
There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week. And maybe next week, Wednesday, Maria's going to up her dinner from 50 to maybe 75. Come on now.
Yes, I will.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice. The opinions contained within are solely those of the interviewers and interviewees and should be received as so. Those seeking help or advice are encouraged to obtain professional legal